Welcome, everyone. In the final days of June 2025, Wuhan City in Hubei Province, China, was hit by an unprecedented rainstorm that brought large-scale flooding to multiple parts of the city. Relentless downpours, accompanied by intense thunder and lightning, paralyzed everyday life from transportation and education to daily routines. Floodwaters rose rapidly, turning streets into rivers, submerging vehicles, and severely disrupting the lives of thousands. Wuhan's traffic system was overwhelmed and brought to a complete standstill. Wuhan faced one of the most severe floods in its history. Hours of non-stop rain caused massive chaos across the city's transportation network. Roads transformed into fast-moving waterways, swallowing cars and cutting off access throughout entire neighborhoods. The flood not only halted movement, but also crippled critical services for residents. One of the epicenters of the disaster was Wuchang railway station, known as Wuhan's key transportation hubs. Water levels inside the station rose to knee height in many areas, making it nearly impossible for passengers to move around. Floodwaters poured into corridors, waiting areas, and even ticket counters, creating scenes of total chaos. Many travelers were trapped inside, unable to leave or find alternative ways to get to safety. Some had no choice but to wade through the deep, murky water in search of higher ground, while others waited patiently in elevated areas within the station, hoping the waters would eventually recede. The city's subway system, one of the most essential and widely used modes of transportation for Wuhan residents, was also hit hard. Several subway stations were completely submerged, forcing the entire network to shut down. Viral videos on social media showed floodwaters rushing into underground stations, flooding train tracks and entryways. Passengers were stranded inside train cars or stuck on platforms, while staff worked urgently to regain control of the situation. Road traffic fared no better. Major thoroughfares in the city, once bustling with cars and buses, had turned into temporary rivers. Cars, motorbikes, and even public buses were swept away or left immobilized in rising water. Some of Wuhan's most critical traffic arteries were fully blocked, making travel between districts nearly impossible. Footage, shared by residents, captured shocking scenes: vehicles drifting aimlessly in floodwaters, and pedestrians wading through waist-deep, murky water, desperately trying to reach home or find safer ground. The flooding brought not only massive inconvenience, but also raised serious concerns about the city's ability to withstand extreme weather events. Despite recent investments in drainage improvements, Wuhan's urban infrastructure struggled to cope with the sheer volume of rain in such a short time. Experts warn that a combination of rapid urbanization, widespread concrete development, and a lack of sustainable drainage solutions has made the city increasingly vulnerable to floods. Furthermore, public transportation, considered the backbone of urban mobility, revealed its limitations in the face of such a massive natural disaster. Emergency response teams were quickly deployed, and authorities implemented urgent rescue measures, but the overwhelming volume of floodwater posed severe challenges to relief efforts. The situation not only disrupted daily life for Wuhan residents, but also paralyzed economic activity and cargo transportation throughout the region. As a vital economic hub of central China, Wuhan's infrastructure was put under extreme stress. One of the most striking images of this disaster came from Wuhan University, which was left isolated amid floodwaters. As one of China's top educational institutions, the university became a symbol of the destruction brought by the floods. Much of the campus, particularly the areas near the main entrances, was completely surrounded by water, making it resemble an isolated island in a vast sea. In some areas, water rose to chest level, rendering movement in and out of campus nearly impossible. Students, faculty, and staff were trapped inside, while those outside were unable to reach them. Videos circulating on social media captured dramatic scenes, floodwaters pouring over roads leading to the campus, engulfing low-lying areas, and partially submerging administrative buildings, libraries, and student dormitories. These scenes sparked widespread concern about the safety of campus communities and the resilience of educational infrastructure in extreme weather conditions. The flooding's impact on Wuhan University extended beyond the suspension of teaching and research activities. Several buildings, including landmark structures, were breached by floodwaters, damaging valuable equipment, books, and critical research materials. Student dormitories home to thousands were heavily affected. Some sections were flooded, forcing students to relocate to higher floors or seek temporary shelter elsewhere. In-person classes were suspended, and even online learning was disrupted due to power outages and unstable internet connections in parts of the city. This historic flood has done more than paralyze transportation and education. It has placed Wuhan's healthcare system under severe strain. Hubei Provincial People's Hospital, one of the region's largest medical centers, became a focal point after floodwaters swept through its grounds, submerging parking areas and the lower floors of several buildings. Footage from the scene shows furniture and loose medical equipment bobbing in the water, creating scenes of utter chaos. Floodwater rushed into corridors and intake areas, making movement extremely difficult. Medical staff were forced to navigate daunting obstacles to maintain patient care, while those requiring urgent treatment faced heightened risk amid the operational disruption. The impact goes far beyond property damage. Flooded zones inside the hospital triggered power outages, jeopardizing critical devices such as ventilators, X-ray machines, and vital sign monitors. Authorities moved swiftly to deploy rescue teams and provide emergency aid, yet the sheer scale of the flooding has made the response extremely difficult. The crisis now extends beyond Hubei Provincial People's Hospital, disrupting operations at medical facilities across the city. Meteorological agencies report that cumulative rainfall in districts such as Hangkou, Hanyang, and Wuchang topped 100 millimeters within just a few hours, with some stations recording far higher total zone. At the University of Science and Technology in Hongshan District measured a staggering 189 millimeters. In addition to urban flooding, forecasters warn of potential secondary disasters: flash floods, landslides, and ground subsidence, especially near mountains, rivers, and reservoirs. Low-lying areas like the Donghu High-Tech Zone and the Yangtze New Town are classified as high risk due to dense development and limited elevation. The combination of prolonged downpours and water-saturated soil is dramatically increasing the likelihood of landslides in the hills surrounding Wuhan. Reservoirs and local waterways are also at risk of overtopping, threatening nearby communities. Meteorologists say back-to-back heavy rain events in such a short window have pushed the city's already overburdened flood control and drainage systems to the breaking point. Wuhan's authorities have activated their emergency response protocol, dispatching rescue crews, reinforcing riverbanks, and stepping up monitoring in landslide-prone zones. Even so, the scale of this flood is testing every measure. Sources report that, despite upgrades in recent years, the city's drainage network simply cannot handle the torrent that has fallen in such a short span. Adding to the strain, scientists warn that the growing frequency and intensity of extreme weather events linked to climate change are putting ever greater pressure on major urban centers like Wuhan. Forecasts indicate heavy rain could persist in the days ahead, heightening the risk of secondary disasters. Meeting this challenge will require close coordination among agencies and stronger public awareness of disaster prevention and response. Severe weather is sweeping across China, posing a nationwide test. In the south, provinces such as Guangxi, Guangdong, and Fujian have endured record-breaking downpours that triggered devastating floods and significant losses of life and property. In Guangxi, river levels surged past danger marks, inundating vast areas and affecting thousands of households. Some districts have reported casualties and missing persons as torrents swept away homes, roads, and critical infrastructure. Meanwhile, in Guangdong, prolonged rainfall has caused deadly landslides, raising fresh concerns about safety in the region's mountainous terrain. Fujian has not been spared from the spiral of extreme weather either, with both urban and rural areas suffering deep inundation that has disrupted daily life and stalled economic activity. These events underscore a worrying trend. The frequency and intensity of extreme weather across China are on the rise. Extreme weather is testing not only government agencies but also community cohesion, as mitigating losses requires tight cooperation at every level. The threat of geologic disasters is also rising. Beyond flooding, recent extreme weather events have sharply increased the likelihood of flash floods and landslides. In the mountainous provinces of the south, prolonged downpours have left hillsides waterlogged and unstable. In Guangdong, landslides have already isolated villages and severed transport links. Riverbanks and reservoirs in Guangxi face the danger of overtopping as water levels climb past safe limits. Footage from affected areas shows rocks and debris cascading down hillsides, sweeping away homes and infrastructure, and making rescue operations extremely difficult. Meteorological agencies have issued repeated warnings about the risk of geological disasters, especially in regions with complex terrain. Experts emphasize that to reduce future damage, China must invest more heavily in sustainable solutions, from upgrading urban drainage systems to building protective infrastructure in vulnerable areas. Today's extreme weather is not just a warning about the impacts of climate change, it is a call to action to protect communities and critical infrastructure from increasingly severe threats. If you're watching this video, please take a moment to share this story, send a message of support, or simply offer a prayer. Even a small act of kindness can bring hope to those who are struggling in the face of despair. Thank you for being with us. We'll continue to follow this story until the skies clear and hope shines once again.